What's going on, guys? Hope you guys are doing well. Back with a car auction video. No, it's been a week or so. I've been traveling for work, so I had recorded a video or two ahead of time, a couple days before I left for my trip, to make sure that you guys had videos during that time, so I didn't get a chance to do the following week's auctions because they were not up yet. So back now, and yeah, got some exciting stuff off of the bat. Traditional disclaimer before I get started that none of this is financial, legal, or tax advice. Not a licensed professional, so just chatting about some stuff. So first car we got here is an Acura NSX, from 42,000 miles. It's an 04, about 17 hours left. It's at $85,000 already. It's in Texas. And this thing is looking clean. Looks very well kept up. I mean, it doesn't have the pop-up headlights, but the silhouette itself is still just iconic. I think that if I was going to go for one of these, I think the prices are close enough that I'd probably go for one with pop-up headlights, but you do see a pretty decent volume of these on the site lately. It looks like they've got what is that for? Is that for like a CD player here or something interesting? Got an old Boxster. I don't typically stop and look at these because they're not that rare, but I've been looking at Porsche's website a little too much, and I don't know if I'd go for a Boxster, but I do like the Cayman. This one's only at 11 grand, 17 hours left. It's in New Jersey, 99,000 miles. And it's got the PDK, which is Porsche's dual clutch transmission. So it stands for like Porsche Doppel Cup something that has PDK in it. But we got an old CTSV here. I really think these are ugly. I have seen some newer I think they call them CT5Vs now in person. And to be honest, they look better in person, I think, than they do in photos. But still not in love with them. But this is just especially ugly. The body lines just are not there for me. But it's got an LS6. I think it was this very early car to get that. I think the first car that had that was the C5 Corvette. What am I thinking of? Thinking of the Z06, I think. C5, Z06 Corvette had the LS6, and then I think right after they put it in the early gen CTSVs, which is what this is. So cool for that reason, but I don't know, not a particularly attractive car in my opinion. Let's see, it's going for 12 grand, 60,000 miles. It's in Florida. 18 hours left. Probably a little more than I would expect, honestly. What the heck? We have an EV RAV4. I didn't in 2014. What? Tesla powered SUVs as a custom. It's got like badging and stuff. What the heck? It's a rare second generation Toyota RAV4 EV co-developed between Toyota and Tesla. I did not know this was a thing. Wow. 31,000 miles. It's going for 6.6 grand right now. 17 and a half hours left. That is super interesting. Wow. I did not know that was a thing. KTM here. These are interesting. A lot of people know them for their motorcycles, but this is what year is this? 2012 Expo. I think this has been around for like 15 or 20 years. I think they still sell it, but it was co-developed with Audi, I believe. I think it uses the one of their engines, but I do think it's a pretty cool looking car. I think it's a nicer looking version of the those slingshots that you see people driving. Nicer by my own standards. I think it looks cooler, but it is going for $55,000. Wow. Only 800 miles, 17.5 hours left in Arizona. I'm surprised it's going for so much money. Wagons, Mercedes, Thunderbird. Got an Huracan Evo. We've seen a lot of Lambos lately, so, I'm not going to run through the backstory of them again. Looks like it's in Nevada. Yeah, not a bad looking car. I mean, it is the Spider. 15,000 miles, going for 218 grand, 19 hours left. Nice amount of money. R1S. If you guys have not checked out the podcast that Doug DeMuro started, I'm a huge fan of it. It's called This Car Pod, and he does it with a couple of his buddies, and they just talk about car news and like if there's anything that's been going for deals on the site, and yeah, it's really cool. They're only on their second week, but I would recommend it for sure. We have a BRZ Hyper Blue. I think we saw a Hyper Blue WRX not too long ago. It's not a bad color. Not my favorite, but it looks to be in pretty good condition. It's about 8 years old. It's got 35,000 miles on it. It's in New Mexico. This is one of the things they were talking about in the podcast, is these are going for pretty cheap now. Not the Hyper Blue in general, but the BRZs. The old BRZs, the old FRSs. But yeah, 10 grand left. 19.5 hours for a 2016 BRZ. This one's a rare one too. We got a McLaren MP412C, also known as just 12C. This is a 2012 model. I actually like the look of these. They only made them for a couple years before they kind of swapped in the 650S in 2014 and discontinued these, but McLarens all tend to kind of look very similar. Yet another thing they were talking about on the podcast, actually, funny enough. I think they were talking about them having some financing issues or something and being sold off. Or at least part of them sold off, but listen to them to get the full story. But 46,000 miles, 50 grand, 1 day left. Wow. Dude, this is going for less than the freaking KTM. That's insane. Got a very clean E92 right here. Very nice. Love the booty on these cars. This one's in Florida. Inside looks to be in very good condition as well. 61,000 miles. Yeah, that's very nice. Going for 22 grand with a day left. 61,000 miles in Hollywood, Florida. It's actually cheaper than I typically see them going for. Usually they hit mid-30s. Wow, got an M5 CS. I do not think we've seen one of these before. So, I know I've explained like the BMW trim levels before, but let me run from the bottom. So you have the 5 Series, you have the 550, M550, and then you have the M5, and then you have the M5 Competition, and then there's a rather rare trim above the M5 Competition, and the M4 has it too, called the Competition Sport, which is what CS stands for. And it's even faster and even lighter than the Competition. So, very fast. I think this is one of the fastest production cars that's been made, at least by BMW. I know it is. But, I do think it looks kind of ugly in this picture. I don't like this, like, bronze and the gray and the orange reflectors and yellow headlights. Yeah, I don't know. Not a fan, but... And then they have a red interior. What's going on here? But it is a very cool car. It's going for 121 grand with 1 day left. 6,000 miles. It's in Virginia. But, these things are like 627 horsepower, V8, all-wheel drive. It weighs like over 200 pounds less than a normal M5 comp. But it's like $40,000 more than the base model. So you're not getting it for, you know, a cheap price. But very cool car. What is this monstrosity next to it? Someone converted a Jetta into a pickup truck. I don't believe it. How is this thing road legal? What? That's crazy. There's no way they're making their money back on this thing. It's got 240,000 miles. Wow. It's going for 6 grand. Maybe they're making their money back on it if it has 240,000 miles. But boy, that is an interesting vehicle. Got a 2016 WRX STI going for 13. 1 day left. Have a TLX Type S PMC edition. PMC is their Performance Manufacturing Center. We've looked at those before. Got some Audis. Got an M2 2018, nothing special. We've looked at these before. Nice looking car. Obviously before they quote unquote ruined the M2 with the recent changes. Got an e-tron Quattro. Got another R1T. Got a Toyota Land Cruiser, Sprinter van. Another Lambo. This is an Aventador SVJ. One of 900 SVJ models, 760 horsepower V12. Pretty sick. Very clean looking car. 2019, going for $575,000. Wow, that is insane. 1,500 miles, 2 days left. It's in Ohio. Pretty crazy looking. What the heck? We have an M4 CS too. I remember I was just telling you that they also had this trim on the M4. That's insane. 1 of 1,000 US M4 CS models. This is a 2019 though. I think the other one was a 2022. You can see the slight contours in the hood for the extra air vent there. Interesting. 2 back-to-back in the same week. That's kind of nuts. Now I will say this is not as crazy as the M5 CS. This is only like a, I don't know, 5 or 10 horsepower boost over the normal M4 comp. And it's, I think at the time it was like 100 grand for versus 70, so not as like insane of a jump as the M5 CS, but only 9,200 miles. It's only going for 43K, 9,300 miles. It's in Montana. Interesting. Very unique. And then, let's see, got a Hummer, Audi A5 Quattro, another WRX. We have a Mercer. This was like part of Ford back in the day. I think it was the US legal version of a car that Ford sold abroad called the Sierra. I think it was the Sierra. Just weird. 21-year current owner. Rare coupe. Look at those seats. Maybe those are covers. It's got to be redone. But 28,000 miles shown. It's in Las Vegas. Ford's short-lived attempt on taking on BMW head-to-head. Yeah, I mean, I guess it was a BMW competitor at the time, or they wanted it to be. Pretty crazy. M240. Got another i8. I feel like we see one of these every other week or so. Not too big of a fan of those. Got an old M3. Have an NA Miata here in Arizona, going for $9,000 with 2 days left. I desperately want a Miata, but I don't know if I can bring myself to spend the money on it. But cool looking car. I assume that's why it's going for less. Oh, it's got 136,000 miles. RS5 going for $19,000. It's 2014. M3 Mustang Shelby GT350R going for $56,000 with 2 days left. The GTI. Got a 911 GT3 RS and a Noble M400. Not a fan of this purple, man. I know people want to be flashy, but I don't know. I just don't think I'm a fan of this color. And I mean, I guess the yellow goes with the purple, but I don't like that either. It does look nicer in the shadows, honestly, when the purple looks a little darker, but not a reason to buy it, obviously. $165,000, 3 days left. It's in Arizona, 11,000 miles on it. Yeah, not my favorite look. We've also looked at one of these before, actually not too long ago. This was a pretty rare car. It was sold as a kit car in the US. You'd buy it for like $70,000 with no drivetrain, and then you'd add like a V6 and some labor, and you had a 400 plus horsepower car that did 0 to 60 in a little over 3 seconds, which was pretty cool. But very unique cars. The interior leaves a little bit to be desired, but it's not a luxury vehicle, that's for sure. It's going for $55,000, 3 days left. 16,000 miles in Connecticut. Got an XLR V, got a Grand Coupe there's not too much I can say about these after you see a couple of them. You kind of have seen them all. But what's it going for? 2018, 200 grand. 3 days left. It's actually in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. 8,600 miles. Got a E90 or E9X, whatever you want to call it. 66,000 miles in Illinois, going for 25 grand. 3 days left. I think I prefer the coupes personally, but these are a nice looking car as well. Actually looks to be in pretty decent condition. Big ass exclamation point. Yeah. Not as nice as the blue one we saw. Got another R1T, got a Civic SI with some crazy decals. Got a Dodge Demon, another one. We've seen a couple of these. I think these are moving like hotcakes because they're ending them, you know. Gonna be limited down the road. Where else are you gonna get a 1,000 horsepower car? But definitely not a luxury vehicle on the inside, that's for sure. Got an old TTRS. I'm really not a fan of those. The newer generations I do like, but 2013's a little too old for me. $8,500. Got an old M5, Land Cruiser, Land Rover Defender. Got a Bentley Continental 2014 going for 100 grand. I feel like usually these do not fetch that much once they get old, but that's interesting. I don't know enough about Bentleys to be judging that. Only 1,000 miles. It's in San Diego, California. 100 grand it's going for. Got another Miata here. Got a Lotus Elise SC. Saw a couple of those a video or two ago. Got a pretty clean S2000 here. You don't see a lot of Peugeots. Yeah, this is very clean. Soft top. All black. 2004. Going for 8,200, 6 days left. That'll definitely jump up, although it is kind of high mileage. 114K. Irving, Texas. Nice looking car. Nice looking car for sure. And we got the 2012 Audi R8 in a hideous green color. It has been a cool car though. That's another one they were talking about in the pod because, you know, they're not making it anymore. But only going for $44,000, but it's got 6 days left, so it'll creep up. Got a blacked out Quadrifoglio. Those are cool. And we have a Cybertruck, which I'm sure most of you have seen Doug's review of this thing. It is something. It is certainly interesting. I guess there was some legal issues, like people are not technically allowed to resell them yet or something. So they're doing this at risk of, I guess, being chased after by Tesla, but I think we've seen a couple of them sell, so. It's at 115K, 6 days left. I think that's a little over MSRP right now. 600 miles on it. It's in California, obviously. 06 E55 AMG. Another NC Miata. Audi Q7 3 Series. C63 AMG. We've seen a couple of these as well. F355 Spiders. Really not a fan of those. Only going for 32 grand with 6 days left. Also not a fan of the Taycan. I think I've said that before, but proportionally, I think it looks a little weird. And you know I hate wagons anyways, but yeah, only going for 20 grand, but it does have 6 days left. 6,000 miles on it. This thing is in Virginia. And that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. As usual, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. Let me know your favorites.